signify the start of fall through the changing of colors in the leaves. And as they litter down and cover your lawn, it might be tempting to rake them up. However, some experts say it's best to leave those leaves alone. Leaf mulching is a practice in which folks don't rake leaves but merely mow over them. This can benefit the natural ecosystem of your lawn. Decomposing leaves enrich the soil, adding nutrients and organic material.
Leaf mulching, you're wanting to just get a really dense pile of leaves, water it down, and just let it sit.
Many cities across the country have banned the use of leaf blowers or restricted the usage hours. Some leaf blowers use a two-stroke engine, mixing oil and gasoline and spitting out as much of a third of that fuel as unburned aerosol. This results in leaf cleaning not only being extremely loud, but also dirty.
They are banning them because of the noise ordinances and things like that. They're banning them because of perceived environmental hazards. And they are trying to quickly come up and fill in place with battery-operated equipment.
The city of Lexington has not taken steps to restrict usage yet, but they do have a noise ordinance prohibiting loud disturbances across the city between 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. The city also offers weekly leaf pickup to help out residents with leaf disposal, but officials aren't too worried about neighbors disrupting the peace with loud leaf blowers.
Lexington is a city that functions a lot like a smaller town, and people tend to be neighborly and considerate, and so, we don't hear a lot of people outside their neighbor's house at like 5 a.m. or 10 p.m. Trying to blow those leaves.
In Lexington, Alexa Minton, WKYT.